Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Healing Courageously with the Courageous Healers Foundation. Today we are going to continue the conversation on chapter 13 of the book Healing the Wounded Child Within. Hope you're all doing well, being safe. Another beautiful day in the Coachella Valley. It's supposed to be getting pretty hot out here this week. I think 113 by the weekend. My wife and I decided to head down to the beach Saturday, and it was absolutely gorgeous down to my hometown, Laguna Beach, Dana Point area. And down in that area, they're not real worried about the coronavirus whatsoever. So it was kind of nice. A lot of people just living life, being safe, but living life. You know, the beach was beautiful, weather was perfect. Couldn't have asked for a better day to be at the beach. Couldn't ask for a better day to be at the beach. So, like I said, we're going to continue with this is chapter 13, Healing the Wounded Child Within. We're talking about your authentic self, finding your authentic self. And a lot of people, I think this is a tough chapter. Some people might say, well, I am my authentic self, and some people might be questioning it. And, you know, I think oftentimes we believe we are being our authentic self, but until we start looking at things and questioning things and wondering things. Hey, Randy. Because finding your authentic self, who God created you to be, is last week I spoke for a little bit on Don Miguel Ruiz. You know, it's oftentimes we are, as adults, we turn into the people that society tells us we should be. Our parents tell us should be, the dream of our grandparents, the dream of our parents. And a lot of times that's good. And then there's a lot of times when it's not good. And like I said, in recovery, I've talked to a lot of people. And they, number one, there's a couple of different things. Is that as they're growing up, the parents just didn't believe in their children and didn't believe they could be what they wanted to be. Other times, they pretty much said, this is what you're going to be, or else we're going to cut you off from the family or our trust fund. In my case, you know, in school and during high school and stuff, summers I worked in construction, and then when I finally had the chance to fulfill my dream, it was because I was still trying to get the approval of my mother and my stepfather. When I got the letter from the fire department to come down and take the civil service exam, they talked me out of it, saying I wouldn't be able to pass it. I didn't know what I was doing. I knew nothing about the fire department. So I was talked out of it. Grant you, in construction, it was a good career for me. I made a lot of money in construction, but you know, a lot of other things I would rather have done. You know, my kids, when they all turned 18, I told them, hey, do what you want to do right now. If you guys want to take off and just go around the country, explore the country, then do it. Also, we'll support you. I mean, we're behind you 100%. We want you to make sure that you get it all out of your way, that you really are happy with your life and where you're going and what direction you're going in your life. As parents, oftentimes, we might not agree with the course of action that our children are taking, but it's their lives, not ours. And we have to understand that. And we don't have to agree with the choices they make, but we have to let them make them. And then if that choice didn't work out for them, I'm not going to say right or wrong choice, because there's no right or wrong. It's a choice. You made the choice. It's just what it is. And if it doesn't work out, then there's be another choice. And so that's what as parents we're there to do: support our adult children. They're adults now. They make choices. They've got to Hey, anyway, good to see you. It was beautiful down there yesterday, brother. I mean, God, it was. I didn't want to leave. It was absolutely gorgeous. So, yeah, make a trip down there. I'd still be down there if I could. So we're there to support our children. And it's like I told the story about my son playing baseball, and when he told me he was done, it was like, well, it's not my life, and I can't live my life vicariously through my children, which a lot of people do. And we have to let our children grow up and be adults. We have to let them make choices, and the choices they make are just choices. And if it works out, fine. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But a lot of what's going on in this world today, especially with men, I mean, it's a lot of absentee fathers. Believe me, I coaching the sports I coached for 12, 13 years, however long it was. I saw plenty of fathers destroy their relationships with their children, and I didn't want that of my kids, so I didn't want to ruin the relationship with my children. With my children, I love them, and I could have very well ruined my relationship with my son Garrett. Excuse me. Um, that time we went up there to Wyoming to watch him play a doubleheader, which were the last two games we were able or ever saw him play. It's okay. We watched him play a lot of ball, and he's perfectly happy now. He works for the water district. He's got a wife. He's got two children. All my kids are happy. How about been happy with all the choices they've made? Not really, but that's okay. They're still my children. Hey, no, they're still my children. So let's read this little quote by Brene Brown, who is anybody out there that's struggling with shame. Or I would encourage you to do as much work or watch as many videos on YouTube or books as you can from Brene Brown. She's phenomenal in what she does. And she says, owning our story can be hard, but not nearly as difficult as spending our lives running from it. It's hard when you want to own your own story. Sorry about the dog. My daughter's coming in. There's nothing I can really do about it. I don't have a studio yet, so this is what it is. Owning our own story can be hard because when we want to own it, and in order to own it, we have to talk about it. And the problem is that finding somebody that we can talk about it with, that's going to listen to us and not have all these innuendos to tell us, get over it, happened a long time ago. Okay, so first of all, as we own our story, it's going to be hard. So you have to let us, if you want us to own it, you have to listen to us. And listen to us with an open heart and not try to fix us. But see, what happens then is we spend our lives running from it. If we can't own it, then we do spend our lives running from it. But the problem is, it never goes nowhere. It's with us all the time. So owning your own story can be hard, but not nearly as difficult as spending our lives running from it. Embracing our vulnerabilities is risky, but not nearly as dangerous as giving up on love and belonging and joy, the experiences that make us the most vulnerable. It's risky to become vulnerable, especially as a man. Especially as a man, it's risky to become vulnerable because it can be embarrassing. People can laugh at us, make fun of us. Okay, but when we become vulnerable, that's when we can experience some of the best love and joy and belonging that a human being can feel. It's when I did it. But again, you've got to find the right audience to be vulnerable in. Okay, I mean, there's plenty of times I walked out of business meetings and I had to call my sponsor just because things had happened in there. But I talked to him. I didn't say it in the business meeting. Oh man, I'm feeling pretty vulnerable right now, and blah 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 blah. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. That's where you have a mentor or a sponsor to help you with. The experiences that make us the most vulnerable. Only when we are brave enough to explore the darkness will we discover the infinite power of our light. That is so crucial. We have to love the darkness. We have to embrace that side of us. We can't ignore it. It's what's made us up to a certain degree. My darkness is just as much responsible for the man that I am today as my well-being and the light that's in me. Because I'm not running from the darkness anymore. I'm running towards the light, which is shining the light on my darkness, shows me where my defects of character are. It shows me some of the areas that I still might need to work on. So owning our story can be hard, but not nearly as difficult as spending our lives running from it. Embracing our vulnerabilities is risky, but not nearly as dangerous as giving up on love and belonging and joy, the experiences that make us the most vulnerable. Only when we are brave enough to explore the darkness will we discover the infinite power of our light. The light of shining within us, the God light that's within us. Inside every man, woman, and child is the infinite wisdom of God. So, one of the men in my journey was Dr. Alan Berger, and I read a couple of his books, which were enticing, and then he spoke at a couple of our conferences, and so I kind of learned a lot from him, talking with him and working with him a little bit. I asked him to give me an excerpt from my book, and it's funny because this last book, Finding Your Authentic, last chapter of Finding Your Authentic Self, I just asked Dr. Alan Berger to give me something that he felt would be, enhancing for the book. Well, I wrote this chapter, and then I got his excerpt, and this excerpt fits in perfectly with Finding Your Authentic Self. And I'm going to kind of read from it and elaborate on it. It's really, really a powerful excerpt. It's called On Understanding the True Self. And it ties the life of an acorn in with the life of us. It's really eye-opening to me. I'll kind of elaborate on it as I go. So this is again by Dr. Alan Berger. It's in chapter 13 of my book, Healing the Wounded Child Within. We are each born with a true self, which is like an acorn. Okay? The DNA of the acorn has all the programming necessary to grow into an oak tree. So everything's in that acorn, as is everything is in the DNA that we're born with. It will look like other oak trees, but it will also be unique. So what's going to be an oak tree? It's going to look like 100 other oak trees, but it's still going to have its uniqueness to it. When you think about this compared to life, according to Dr. Karen Horney, one of the unheralded geniuses of psychology, right, you need not, and in fact cannot, teach an acorn to grow into an oak tree. But when given a chance, its intrinsic potentialities will develop. Okay, so it's there. Everything, the knowing's there. That oak tree, that seed, knows what it's going to be, knows what it's got to do. Its intrinsic potentialities will develop if given the chance. Okay? Just like the acorn that is genetically programmed to become a unique oak tree, we, as humans, are programmed to become our true self. Now, we're programmed to become true self. God knew us. He knew our life before we were even born. Before we even conceived, He knew who we were and what we were going to do. We were programmed from day one. Given the proper set of circumstances, we will develop the unique forces of our real or true self. We'll go into this a little bit. Given the proper set of circumstances, we will develop the unique forces of our real or true self. Same as the oak tree, given the same properties and and circumstances, it will develop into the oak tree that it was meant to be. We will develop the ability to experience the depth of our own feelings, thoughts, wishes, desires, and needs. We will develop the ability to experience the depth of our own feelings, thoughts, wishes, desires, and needs. And the sad part about that is it says we will develop that. But if you go back to our grandparents' dreams and our parents' dreams, right, they're robbed from us because our own feelings and thoughts and wishes, desires, and needs. We're told how we should feel. We're told how we should think. We're told what our wishes should be. And I'm not saying every single person, every single parent's like this. Please don't get me wrong. And I don't ever, those of you know me, know that's how I am. It's general terms I'm speaking, but that doesn't mean everybody is this way, right? But so many of those parents and grandparents, generation to generation, no, you can't feel that way. No, you can't be thinking that way. I don't care what you wish. I don't care what your desires are, and I don't care what your needs are. But what it's saying is that God's given us the ability when we're born that we'll develop the ability to experience the depth of our own feelings, thoughts, wishes, desires, and needs. We will develop the faculty to express ourselves and spontaneously and respectfully relate to others. Man, that is a lost art. I think that's what's wrong with the world. We will develop the faculty to express ourselves and spontaneously, and here's a word right here, and respectfully relate to others. Whatever happened to having a conversation, right, and might not be agreeing with the other person, but we can still respect the other person. Look what's happening in the world right now. It's been taken from us. People don't know how. It took me a long time, and I still struggle with talking about how my opinion. It's just my opinion. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong. No. But I've learned how to spontaneously talk about my opinion on my side of the street and respectfully relate to others. See, it's having a closed mind at this point in time, which, society has pretty much taught us to have that closed mind. It's like, no, if you don't think the way I think, then you know what? You're a bad person. You need to be over here in this group. You need to be this. You need to do that. You don't agree the way I agree. If you have an open mind, I've learned so much from people that I didn't agree with. And one of the conversations I would always have with people that I might not agree with is that walk away from a conversation or whatever and go, man, I never thought of it that way. I never thought of it that way. I'm gonna give that some thought. So I walk away, and sometimes I might not give the thought right then and there, but I'll give it thought down the road, and it's like, or something will come up. Okay, something will come up, and it's like, oh, now I understand what that person was saying and why he was saying it that way. So I might not still agree with them, and it might not work for me because I might have something else that works for me in the same situation. But then the understanding comes like, oh, okay. So that's why he was saying this, because in this situation, he works through it, A, B, C, and I work through it, D, E, F. We have to remain open-minded in this world, because if we don't, that's what's wrong with this world. Nobody's staying open-minded. Everybody's got their mindset, they're closed. It's this way or the highway. Then he goes on to say, we will learn to equally honor our need for togetherness and our need to be ourselves. All right? So there's that need to be togetherness. And again, we all need that. We're human beings. We need to be together. And I don't know if you guys like me, but then there's times I need to be by myself. But see, when we're together, that's when we honor each other. I mean, there's a lot of things in life we're going to disagree on. That's okay. Doesn't mean you're a bad person at all. Doesn't mean I'm a bad person. So when I get together with people, have the conversation with them, I might not agree with them. They might not agree with me. But that doesn't matter. As long as we can have the conversation and walk away still being okay with each other, that's what's important. And then there's those times that we need to be ourselves. Just need to be us, man. My wife and I work on this a lot, especially with me, because I can be very outspoken on certain things, and she tends to want to calm me down. It's like, don't, no, I just need to. I'm fine. I mean, this is who I am. This, believe me, I don't say half of what I want to say half the time. So, we need to be ourselves also. But we've been taught by the dreams of our parents and our grandparents that no, you can't do that. You can't be by yourself. They need to be ourselves. To be ourselves. Well, who are you? Well, I can't be who I am because I've told I can't be by myself. It gets really convoluted. Maybe I'm convoluting it more right now. I don't know. We will come to realize our own set of values and purpose in life. Now, these are gifts that God, when we're born, this is what we're supposed to do. All these sayings that we're talking about is what it's supposed to be. We'll develop a faculty to express ourselves and spontaneously, respectfully relate to others. We'll learn to equally honor our need for togetherness and our need to be ourselves. We will come to realize our own set of values and purpose in life. Again, there are values and purpose in life, okay? You don't have to infringe your rights and purpose, your values and purpose in life on me, I got different values and I got different purpose in life than you might have. Does that mean I'm going to be closed-minded to what you talk about? No. But don't tell me what I need. You don't know what I need. You don't know what anybody needs. Half the people don't even know what they need themselves. So we all have our own values and purpose in life, and we have to remain open-minded through life because sometimes those are skewed a little bit. I mean, when I was out there running a gun, and I really didn't know what my purpose in life was. And some of my values are messed up. I'm not going to argue that point. So we have to remain open-minded and willing. We'll be able to tap our own resources to satisfy our needs and to regulate ourselves by soothing our pain or disappointment. And that's one thing that it's hard to, so a lot of that becomes self-taught because nobody ever told me that growing up as a kid how to satisfy my own needs, how to develop resources, how to regulate myself by soothing my pain or my disappointment. Nobody explained that to me. I learned that once I was 50 years old. I was taught how to do this. Right? It's like the people I work with right now, they get in these feelings and these emotions, and because they're not using any kind of a mind-altering substance or any kind of an addiction to suppress those feelings, they got these feelings and emotions and they don't know how to deal with it. And these are adults, and so they fall back into that childhood mentality, which is understandable because now they're sitting in these feelings and emotions. What do I do? How do I deal with this? Oftentimes I just tell them, you just got to sit with it and know you're going to be okay. You haven't felt these because you've been suppressing them all your life. We develop a solid but yet flexible self, which is something that I've been doing. The flexible self is the important part. I'm solid in my beliefs. I'm solid in my core values. I'm solid in my values, my beliefs, my ethics. But I have to have a flexible self. One of the pastors recently, we were making a lot of changes at the church, and it was all good. He was messing with me. Well, he was beating around the bush. He said, Randy, I want you to be flexible. Open-minded, remain open-minded and flexible. I couldn't get out of him what he was talking about. I finally got it. But we have to remain flexible. So if we're rigid, we're going to have a hard time in life. Really hard time. So let's go back to the acorn. An acorn cannot reach its true potential unless it grows in a nurturing environment and climate, which have to provide certain critical elements. Okay, so it's got to have the proper nurturing environment. It's got to be the right climate for the oak tree, and usually that's a lot of those are on the coastal range, especially here in California, and it has to have certain critical elements in it. There needs to be an adequate amount of sunlight and water. The soil needs to contain certain nutrients. So it's got to have all the makings of the oak tree. It's got to have good sunlight, good water, and the soil needs to contain certain nutrients. If these nutrients conditions are adequately met, then the acorn will eventually become what it's destined to be, a beautiful oak tree with a set of unique qualities and characteristics. However, the acorn cannot be exposed. This is so critical. The developing acorn cannot be exposed to harsh conditions until it is well rooted and has matured to a certain point. And Dana Point, up by the water tower on Golden Lantern, it used to be. I pray to God it's still there, and I don't know if it is or not. There was a monstrous oak tree, and it was up on a hill. Beautiful old oak tree. And up there on the hill was exposed to all sorts of weather. The wind, strong winds, and the coastal winds, the rain, the heat, everything. But it grew into that. It was on a hill that had all the nutrients it needed. Everything was perfect for it right there. So it started out as a little acorn, a little tiny tree. And I would say that acorn tree had to be over 100 years old. I mean, that oak tree had to be over 100 years old. And so as it was growing as a young tree, it had the right soil, so it was able to get its roots grounded and sunken into that soil, deep into that soil, because everything was right for it up there. But that way, as time went by, and as the storms of nature, storms of life would come blowing through Dana Point, the winds, the harsh winds up there on the hilltop, and the winds could get pretty hard up there. The tree was well rooted because it had everything it needed. It had the good soil, the water, and all the good nutrients up there. And that way, that's how it withstood those conditions, those stormy conditions for 100 years. And then there's the oak trees that don't have. Maybe they got some water, and maybe they got, it's just like in the Bible, the parable of the sower. He gets thrown onto some rocky soil. It's not the prime condition for an oak tree, right? And maybe it grows up. It starts out being okay. It gets the water, but its roots are more surface level because of the rocky soil underneath it. And then the first bad storm comes, and there goes the oak tree. Okay. The conditions of successful human development are highly similar. Okay? Like the acorn, we have basic needs that must be satisfied for us to thrive. Basic needs in order for us to thrive. One, we need shelter. We need food, and we need water. Those are the physical elements. This is really important, we need a secure and warm attachment that will provide us with love and nurturing. We need to be seen and celebrated. We need intellectual and spiritual stimulation. We need encouragement and empathy. We need to be protected from traumas or abuse. Number one job of a parent. You must protect your children at all costs from traumas or abuse. At all costs. We also need a certain amount of healthy friction with the wishes and wills of others. So we got to have that interaction, that healthy friction of yeah, no, yeah, no. Okay. We need to have that. We need to learn that it's okay to it's okay to disagree with people. It's okay that your opinion is different than mine. We need to get that growing up. Otherwise, we go into our adulthood, which a lot of us, a lot of people out there have. It's their way or the highway, and there ain't no changing it. We need to have expectations placed upon us, but these expectations can't be beyond our reach. They've got to be reasonable expectations. If these conditions are adequately met, we would develop an inner security and an inner freedom that enable us to be responsible to our own feelings and express ourselves according to who we really are. So, basic needs: shelter, food, and water. A lot of us get the basic needs, and a lot of times parents think, well, you got a house to live in, a roof over your head, you got clothes on your back. And then there are those that don't even get basic needs met. Right? Secure a warm attachment that will provide us with love and nurturing. I myself, I mean, besides my grandparents, but they weren't, and my aunt, they weren't who I was living with all the time. I had no secure and warm attachment. By no means did I. Nothing I could do was right. It was always wrong. I was being abused constantly, so I didn't have any of that warm attachment, that feel good stuff. The only person that made me feel good, really good, was my grandmother. When I was, when I would see her, I can remember when I was a young child, crawling up on her lap in a rocking chair in front of the old, they had a in the window AC unit. I felt safe. That's the only place I felt safe was in my grandmother's arms. But that was just once a month when I would see her. Need to be seen and celebrated. I for one, and I've talked to so many people that, well, we're not you, Randy. Well, you might not be me, but I know there's a lot of people out there that are in the same boat and have been in the same boat and have dealt with a lot of the same things. So we need to be seen and celebrated. Basic. Celebrate your children, whatever it is. Have fun with them. Laugh at them. Watch them. Pay attention to them. Right? I mean, we're not perfect. We're human beings, but for the most part, we've got to do better than what we've been doing with our parenting. I'm watching my kids with my grandkids right now, and they're phenomenal parents in my eyes. They're great parents. They love the kids very much. When the grandkids come over here, I just love being with them. I love watching them. I love celebrating them. Right? I love celebrating my kids. So we need intellectual and spiritual stimulation. I didn't get none of that. It's a lot of people don't. Encouragement and empathy. There was no encouragement in my home. It was like, you could have done better. You should have done it this way. And a lot of people, that's what they deal with. And empathy, there was no empathy. No empathy whatsoever. And the big one is we need to be protected from traumas or abuse, man. And that, I'm telling you, parents today, I don't care what it takes. I really don't. You have to. It's a must protect your children from traumas and abuse. You have no idea of the long-term ramifications of a child being abused. You have no idea unless you've been there. And it's not good. And you're just as guilty of the person abusing the child as if you know what's happening and you don't say nothing. And I know I don't want to ruin the family. The family's already ruined. Let's see if we can get the whole family help. We need a healthy friction with wishes and wills of others. Okay. We need to have expectations placed upon us, but these expectations can't be beyond our reach. Well, I expect you to get nothing but straight A's. That's a pretty high expectation to put on any kid. And then if they get 4 A's and 1 D, all they hear about is the D. Celebrate the 4 A's. Forget about the D. Talk about that later, and let's figure out how we can bring that grade up, at least to a C on the next report card. Let's be real with our children. Maybe these expectations were put up on you as children, Well, yeah, look at me, I'm good. Now let's go back to when you were a kid and those expectations were put on you. How to make you feel at that point in time. And if people really could get real with their feelings and emotions, I guarantee you, there'd be a lot more people saying that it was bad. So we need all these conditions so that we can develop an inner security and an inner freedom that enable us to be responsible to our own feelings and express ourselves according to who we really are. That's and if you don't, then you become codependent. You're expressing feelings of not. You might be saying yes when you mean no, so you're lying to yourself and you're lying to everybody. You're trying to please everybody else because you don't know how to please yourself. You're trying to please everybody else because you don't know how. You don't know that it's okay to disagree with other people. You don't know that it's okay to do that because every time you might have disagreed with somebody in your younger life, you got put down. Okay? So, but all this can be relearned even as adults. I've learned it as an adult. Okay, we will be able to support ourselves and stand up for ourselves, and we will grow along spiritual lines. Okay, you can learn this in recovery. You just have to be. You have to come out of denial. You have to have an open mind and have to be willing to change and to listen. And it's not easy. I can tell you right now, it is not easy. And with that open mind does, and you'll grow along the spiritual lines. I can't tell you how much I've grown spiritually. That statement is, and that's right out of the big book too. But unfortunately, he closes this part of it, and we'll talk about more next week. But unfortunately, he says this rarely happens. So all those things that we need right there, from food and water all the way down, it rarely happens. And that's the God's honest truth. And you've got to look at yourself and your own life and really get real with yourself. Really get real with yourself. All right, that's it for this week. So next week I'm going to continue with this part of some more of his writing called "What Goes Wrong." What goes wrong. So it'll be next week, Monday at 11 o'clock, right here. We'll go over what goes wrong. Also, remember, guys, I've got my life coaching. My wife and I do marriage counseling, couples counseling. We're SIMBA certified, so we do the SIMBA assessment. That's a really good assessment, 99.9% accurate. We coach with spiritual, inner healing, abuse, addictions, and marriage. So we do all that. Visit our website, changeyourlifestorynow.com, changeyourlifestorynow.com. Fill out the contact form, and I usually get back to you within 4 hours. Usually if I see the email, as soon as I see the email, I check it out, and I'll get back to you. You do a one-on-one, one-time session, or we got a 3-month, a 6-month, and a 1-year package. Also brings the price point down each time you go up in the package number. So don't wait. We all got hurts, habits, and hang-ups, especially right now with what's been going on. Suicide and suicide attempts are on the rise. Addictions are on the rise. Spousal abuse is on the rise. Domestic violence is on the rise. It's all on the rise. So Kathy and I are here to help with all this. It's nothing you can't work through. Kathy and I we're pro-marriage. We believe that all marriages can work if both people want it to work out. So please visit that website, changeyourlifestorynow.com, changeyourlifestorynow.com. You get my book, Healing the Wounded Child Within, on Amazon. It's a paper book, Kindle, and or audio book. Go online and pick that up. If you have picked it up and you haven't done so already, can you go back on Amazon, please, and just write a little review for the book for me? Or you're going to pick it up when you get them reading, please write a review for me. Visit our foundation website, thecourageoushealers.org, www.courageoushealers.org, the Courageous Healers Foundation. And if you'd like to make a one-time donation or be a monthly contributor, visit our website and click on the donate tab. One more time, donate now tab, and you can do a one-time donation, or you can become a monthly donor. All contributions are tax deductible. We are a 501c3. We can't keep going without your help. We need you. This is a very important foundation. We deal with the sexual abuse of men and the families, which nobody really wants to talk about. So that's what we do. So please, if it's $5, $10, whatever it is, we're grateful. It doesn't have to be no large amount. If you can do it every month, that's you can do it on a, like I say, click the button, set up a monthly donation thing. We really, really appreciate it. All the money goes directly to the Courageous Healers Foundation, 100%. If you donate $60 or more, I will send you a signed copy of my book, Healing the Wounded Child Within, and a copy of my 30-day devotional to wholeness. You can also join me every Friday morning from 9 to 12 on 100.1 FM Remnant Radio from 9 to 12 every Friday morning. Jump on over and listen to a lot of gospel music, and then you'll hear me talk about matters of the heart and what goes on in life. We have our workshops, the Unmasking Yourself series for 2020. We've already done the communication workshop. Journey to You is going to be done this weekend, but we have postponed, or it was last weekend, I guess. We postponed it because of the coronavirus, probably till late July, early August. So if you go also to Courageous Healers Foundation, courageoushealers.org, go to the top page, tab, and click on the workshop tab, and you can read all about the different workshops. There's the Secrets and Silence, which will be September 12th. And then the final one is Forgiveness, which will be December 5th, right before Christmas. All the presentation objectives are there. You can also register right there while you're on that page. Just click on the register here button. I'll give you the link. In the event that you register, there's an early registration fee on there. In the event that you do register and for some reason we have to cancel or postpone that workshop, you will be given an option to just get your money back. We'll give you a full refund, or we'll just hold on to it till the workshop does go forward. Okay? So I think that's it for today. Join me next Monday, same time. We'll continue this conversation on what goes wrong. Remember, if nobody tells you they love you today, Randy does. More importantly, God does. Be blessed, everybody. We will see you next week.